welcome back to another episode of Pints with Pals. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me this evening is your co-host, Mike. How's Mike doing today?
Hi, guy. Oh, I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Thought I'd change it up a little bit. We always have this weird routine always going on. Gotta keep people on their toes. The two listeners we have, your mom and dad. Hi, guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, they both watch, and then we get only one view.
No, we need to stop that.
My mom's like, "Do you want me to just like turn it on my phone?" And just like, "No, mom, it's fine. I would rather not falsify."
Yes, Star, do that.
All right.
So tonight we're having a delight that Mike gave me some time ago, probably about a year ago. I want to say it's the New Holland Dragon's Milk Reserve Stroopwafel.
I think it's Stroopwafel.
Stroopwafel. Yeah, I've had them. So like at Aldi's, they carry the cookies there, so they're pretty nice to. It's a nice treat. Try to do the traditional way, put it over top of your coffee or tea, and let it get warm, soggy, basically. Yeah, but this bad puppy comes in at 11%. Some sources I saw said it comes it's about 31 IBU, I think, overall.
Not as dark as I was expecting it to be. Oh, I did not expect.
Well, it has has a little bit of red hue to it. At least mine has like a little redness to it.
So this is one of those beers that I was talking about, where they like. I don't understand how they can't get it to come to exactly 11%.
All the time.
Yeah. Sorry, it smells kind of funky.
Michigan has unique I wonder if Michigan has laws about. Well, no, I guess you have to do it properly.
Yeah. So this beer is bourbon barrel aged stout. It doesn't say like an imperial stout or anything, but I'm assuming it probably is. With caramel, vanilla, cinnamon, coffee, and Stroopwafel cookies. So,
yeah.
Because I feel like Stroopwafel cookies are going to have, obviously they're going to have the vanilla, caramel, and a little bit of cinnamon in them. So like they just kind of double down on the Stroopwafel flavor. For me personally, I don't like cinnamon in my beer. I don't like a lot of cinnamon in my beer. I feel like this is from 2022, so it's about 2 years old. I think these were bottled. They were bottled 4/8/2021. So these are actually 3 years old. Almost 3 years old.
3 years old.
They're tasting
Mine
more.
has a unique metallic smell to it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're tasting more. I'm hoping that goes away, but it's tasting more ethanol-y. Like I taste a lot of the alcohol, which I wouldn't have thought I would taste in a 11% beer.
So I had another one of theirs last night. I don't remember what it was, just the brown label one. That one I just couldn't get on board with. I drank it all, but I didn't let it warm up.
I think that was
try to get the
s'mores, maybe.
It might have been. It just didn't taste good.
I keep trying these.
This was not too bad. Yeah.
Like the dragon's milk, the plain dragon's milk, I don't really care for. And then the triple mash is probably one of my favorites. That's got to be like on par with like some of the better ones I've had of any brewery. But then I keep trying these Dragon's Milk Reserve series, which are just like a weird flavor after weird flavor. They had like oatmeal cookie. They had a few of them that sound amazing, but they're all 11%, and they're all just kind of blah. I think it's they're either using non-fermentable sugars to try and get the flavors without increasing the ABV, or they're diluting it somehow to bring the ABV back down. Because I can't. Like we keep saying that I just don't really understand and maybe I need to like just go to the brewery and ask them like, hey, why, and then get that answer. Their websites don't have a whole hell of a lot of information on there. If you look up Stroopwafel now, because they haven't come out with it in a long time, it's like, here's a recipe for making Stroopwafels, and you're like, well, want to make a Stroopwafel. I want to know about this beer.
Maybe it didn't sell well.
But having said that, I don't hate this as much as I did. If they came out with it again, I would not buy it. But I think that if you do like cinnamon, you like vanilla, you like coffee, I think you would probably like this. I'm sure my mom loves these. She's liked all the other
cinnamon lingers definitely on the tongue. Tasty.
Yeah, but I'm getting in the back of my palate, I have like an alcohol burn that you get like when you drink bourbon and stuff. So it's like I feel like that's where it's kind of losing me, and might be like when I breathe out, I can feel the alcohol burn, which is kind of weird.
All right, try to warm mine up. Put my hands around it, get it. Need to warm up a little bit. Okay, so now that metallic smell's kind of gone away, I get a little bit of coffee in the nose now, which is pretty good. So I'm just gonna let it sit just for a few minutes, let it kind of warm up. I should have took it out earlier. Let it sit for like 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, my initial impression, I think, is just a sideways thumb. I'm not gonna seek this out. I'm not gonna try and find other variants of this same Dragon Milk Reserve series. I just feel like it's not particularly worth it.
I think for myself, I may start off with sideways for right now, just for the simple fact that just slowly starting to change. I'm getting a little more sweetness, which is what I would expect out of a bourbon barrel aged beer. Yeah. So I'm hoping that maybe in the next 10 minutes or so, when it gets a little bit warmer, maybe I'll be a little more positive. Like I said, the one last night, I want to try again for sure. The one I've liked so far, and I've had 2 or 3 times now, maybe 3, is the triple mash. And that one is, to me, is a very good bourbon barrel aged stout, pastry stout, because it's kind of sweet. Yeah, but it's
a mild sweetness, I think. It's sweet, but it's not overly sweet, I guess.
No, not at all. I'm not sure. I mean, they could have used lactose in it to give it a little more sweetness or a little more body, but I'm not sure, because they don't, like you said, they don't give a whole lot on their website. The only thing I can go by is like how would I make like an imperial stout, and then to kind of go from there, try to like reverse engineer it. But like I said before, I'll never do a true barrel age because I don't want to spend $200-300 on a barrel and brew for like 16 hours straight just to get enough beer made. It's like fill up a barrel.
Yeah, well, it's 60 gallons. What is it? I forget. It might be more than that. 300 gallons.
A barrel's, well, I think it's 30 to 60. That's only 2 I know of for a barrel. But still, I had 6 that means the recipe 6 times. Just fill it up once, right? So
yeah, that seems like a lot of work. So the Stroopwafel is a classic Dutch treat, frequently enjoyed with a cup of coffee. Inspired by this popular pastry, our brewers set out to pair those delicious flavors with dragon's milk. This reserve was aged in select bourbon barrels and finished on a bed of caramel, vanilla, cinnamon, coffee, and whole Stroopwafel cookies. When a tradition tastes this good, it's hard to resist. So it doesn't really say, and I'm kind of curious as to what that means by finished on a bed of caramel, vanilla, cinnamon, and coffee, and whole Stroopwafel. So I'm wondering if that's how they're getting their flavor, is they complete their beer, and then that beer is 11%, and then they just shove it on top of other things to try and impart that flavor without adding any residual alcohol, which is weird. It feels like a weird way of doing it.
Not bad. Like I said, I mean, it's not too far from where you live. You could go there one day and maybe chit chat with them, find out. Oh, I did find out some pretty interesting history. I didn't know they've been around since 1997. So that was pretty interesting to learn. And let's see. Yeah, in Holland, Michigan itself, which is another pretty town to go to, especially during the Tula Festival, which isn't too far off from now.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised how big they have, over 400 team members, and they're actually hiring a bunch of people right now too. So it's not a small production of stuff. But I also learned they also make spirits. Didn't know that either. I've never seen New Holland bourbon whiskey down here. Like, I've never seen it at all. So it's pretty interesting to learn all this stuff earlier this week when I was going through it. They even have a full service restaurant there, which again, that might be kind of fun. It looks very Dutch inspired, Viking inspired, kind of like layout in the inside. The pictures that I did end up seeing. But I guess they have like 3 stores. I'm not sure if they're all in Holland, Michigan, or one's in Holland. The others are kind of spaced out in various cities.
Yeah, there's one in Grand Rapids. It's called Knickerbocker, and that's the one we've gone to a few times. I have a bottle of their bourbon. It's called Origin. It's their own distillate, meaning they've actually done the distilling of the liquid inside of it. So they are distilling and bottling their own. It's not sourced from anywhere else. Not that this is a different podcast completely, but I've heard that they're doing really, really good things. So I'm not sure if they're barrel aging in their old barrels, which would be kind of funny to, like, instead of like going out and sourcing all the different liquor barrels, you're using your own barrels, because in order to make a bourbon, you have to use fresh oak barrels. So like it cannot have been used in any other process. So like to make scotch, which is just a whiskey, you can use an old bourbon barrel and then just put all your mash, which is what like comes out of your distiller, and then you put that in the barrel, and then that will be turned into, even if it's the exact same recipe as a bourbon, you can't call it a bourbon. You would have to call it, in America, you would call it a single malt. So it's just a single malt whiskey, and then in Scotland, obviously, it's called scotch. But it's all just kind of like the same or similar mash bills. Anyhow, that's a big.
I guess that's a good way to kind of keep your own barrels, though. Like, you already know what your liquor tastes like, and you like it, so why not just use your own stuff? Saves money, time.
Cuts out the middleman for sure. Because you already had to buy the barrel once. Why buy it twice? They actually also make beer barrel aged bourbon, or bourbon barrel aged. I don't know. They have bourbon that's barrel aged in beer barrels also. So I think that they must finish it in beer barrels or something. I do not like that one. It tastes like a beer, like a really, really, it's like you left a beer aging for too long and it turned into a bourbon or something like that. It's weird.
Yeah, I never had that.
I don't recommend it. But maybe it might be something you would like, honestly, because you get a lot of the beer flavor in the bourbon. I don't know. It's not something that I'm looking for.
Well, Jameson has again a different podcast for like a different time, but since we're already on, I'm going to bring it up anyways. I know Jameson has a IPA whiskey. I'm not sure how they make it, but I don't know if they, like you said, I don't know if they take a barrel of beer, I guess it'd be a cask beer, and then take that cask, throw their whiskey inside of that, and just get whatever residual hop matter that's in there, or do they just throw hops into the whiskey? I have no idea. I haven't had it, because they always sell it in fifths. I don't want to buy a fifth of it just because I don't like it. So I was trying to find like a pint, or I just want a shooter. That's what I want, because I like it at all, and a pint would just get thrown away. But
I wonder if they're doing, because the way you make it is very similar to a beer, and then you just distill it down. So you basically run it, like boil it off, and then collect all the stuff. So I'm wondering if they're just making an IPA and then distilling that IPA. That'd be a really interesting, in an interesting way. I'd like to know that. Maybe when I'm down in Kentucky next month, I'll stop in at Jim Beam, you said? Who was it that was making
Jameson? It's in Ireland.
I'm probably not gonna get there this year on this trip.
See, going to the wrong state, country. But I mean, Jim Beam may have something like that too. I have no idea. I don't go to the liquor store very often. I have enough to drink here. I need to get rid of first. But we have a local distiller I like to buy from. I like to support him, so I usually just buy his stuff. I think his stuff is pretty good overall. So I think we kind of jumped around all sorts of weird topics tonight. So why don't we go back to the old classics? Like, do anything fun this past weekend, or anything coming up this weekend?
So I was on Facebook. I wasn't looking for stuff, but then an ad popped up for a Facebook Marketplace thing, and somebody was selling 2 corny kegs for $40, not each, total.
Cheap.
And I was like, so all right, yeah. I guess I'm just gonna drive an hour north. So my wife and I hopped in the car and just drove up there and gave him $40 and took what looked like pretty decent corny kegs. My wife's like, so you're gonna take the other ones back that you have? I'm like, no, I'm just gonna brew beer now, I guess. No, I'll probably just so I was wondering, can you daisy chain stuff like that? So if I were to go out from one, so if I had 4 of them full of water, would that be like having a 20-gallon thing of carbonated water, so I only have to do it once? Or do I have to unplug it and plug them back in? Or have you ever heard of daisy chaining?
I've heard of daisy chaining, but not like that. I've heard like daisy chaining CO2.
Yeah, that's what triggered the thought in my brain. I was like, I wonder what would happen if I pushed it back down the air line. And I'm like, that can't ruin it, because the air line is the exact same line, just without it just has a little tiny outlet, so it's not going down into it. Well, mine are now, because I put a whatever the hell those things are, an aerator down there, so I can't use those ones that way, I don't think. But how hard is it really to change them though? Really, I could just pressurize them all and then let them sit until I need them.
Yep, as long as you use good water and everything's sterilized when you do it, like, yeah, it should last quite a while. I don't think it'd go stagnant on you. I wouldn't think it would.
So
that's awesome.
That was fun.
That's a good deal.
I was excited to see that. I'm just like, well, I mean, it's a start. And then she's like, well, that guy also had a 13-gallon boiler or whatever the thing you cook it in.
Kettle.
And he's like, do you have any need in this? I'm like, no. I'm like, because I think he wanted like $100 and some odd for that one. I don't remember looking at his thing, but I'm like, he said when he did it, he would just make a double batch, and that's what he used the 2 kegs for. So we just have 2 at the same time. I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna like whatever the hell I'm gonna make well enough to make 5 gallons, let alone 10 gallons of it. I'm like, damn. Plus, it's like, at this point, if I do get into it, I want to go with one of those all-in-one systems that are more like self-contained, I guess. So your temperature and stuff you don't have to like mess with. That has like the pump that recirculates it and does all that stuff, and the work chiller and whatnot, all kind of built into it. Or you just like, I think you just run like a hose through it or something. I don't remember how that works for the cooling off, where it'll run it through like a heat exchanger, and then that heat exchanger is either like just in a bucket of cold water, or
you can do that way. You can just use your garden hose and just run water through it till long gets like mine gets cold enough. I don't have to worry about it. No, I'm kind of getting to the point where like I would like to have an all-in-one. I think I have it narrowed down. There's 1 or 2. There's one that's really, really cool. I'm not spending $1,000. The other ones are like half that price. One's made by Anvil, which is pretty interesting, and that's like $550 to $500 or $600. And the other one is, I think it's Brewfather, I think is what it is. And I think that's like $600 or so, maybe $700.
They came up with a new one. They have like 3.
Yeah, the Gen 4
one is $600.
So I would probably, if I were to do it, I would get the newest one, just because they just fixed a lot of little issues. I just think it'd be better to do it. The biggest difference between the two, I think the Brewfather has, I think Bluetooth, Wi-Fi capabilities, where the other one doesn't. but I think the build quality of the anvil might be better overall. So it's like I think it's either you get a better build quality or you get the electronics to play with. So it's like one or the other. I'm not sure. I'm leaning more towards the anvil overall, but we'll see. I'm probably gonna do some more research. The one thing you have to keep in mind though is like you want to buy the 10-gallon one, because if you want to make 5 gallons of beer, you need a 10-gallon vessel to make 5 gallons of beer. Basically, if you get like the 6-gallon one or smaller, you only make 2.5, 3 gallons of beer, which may be perfectly fine though too.
Yeah, I don't think I would have thought about that. Well, plus even if you want to make, because if you want to make any kind of imperial anything, you might not even have enough like in there to do that. True. So you might need a 12-gallon one or whatever. So, or you have to do it in 2 separate stages.
Yep. The other thing actually about the anvil one I wanted to bring up I remember, like it has a built-in switch where you can go from 120 to 240, where the other ones it's a standalone. So if you you either buy the 120 or you buy the 240. So you have to be sure which one you want to buy. Where I can bring the anvil and I can flip-flop, but it's not that big of a deal. Well, you have to replace a plug, but that's it.
Would you ever use that inside your house?
Oh yeah, probably. I'll see why I want it.
Because like the reason you don't typically brew beer in your house in an enclosed area, for the viewer that's watching this, probably me later next month, is because you're brewing with like an open flame, and you probably still could, but the propane is eating up the oxygen and the blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. That's why you wouldn't want to do that.
I always have my door cracked a little bit with that. Well, ideally, what I would like to do is, I don't think the wife would allow me to do it, but I would actually like to put a hood on the opposite side wall over there, so I can just do it next to the geyser and everything, just have it all in one spot. That'd be nice, and just have a hood to suck all the moisture outside. But it's not that big of a deal. I really don't care at the moment. It'd just be fun. I think it'd be a fun thing to do. So I guess I'll talk about last weekend. So last weekend I decided to go clean up the creek area behind my house and got into some poison ivy. So I have it, I want to say at least probably 15% of my body is covered in poison ivy. Either nasty bumps and welts to just horrible itchy spots to just plain old misery. So, lesson to myself, don't go into a thicket wearing shorts and t-shirts and duckies. Make sure you have long sleeves on and pants and gloves and all that kind of crap. I've never, so I've been around poison ivy, poison oak before. It's never bothered me ever. In the last couple of years, I've noticed that I've been breaking out, or my skin's is a lot more sensitive for the last couple of years. I'm sure it's an age thing. I'm getting older. So yeah, it's just, I guess, my time to get it. And it sucks. I feel bad for people who are definitely allergic to it. I couldn't imagine going through, because right now it's taking everything in my, but then I have it in me not to scratch.
So I wonder also if potentially, because you're cleaning up that creek, if like just bacteria and stuff were all like in that area because it was like standing water, or was it just flowing water? I don't know. Either way,
flowing.
It's like, okay, so then probably isn't going to have like, because I know that like you can get like a pond itch or whatever, and if you go like swimming in somebody's like acre pond versus like a lake, even lake itch and stuff like that too. But like a river typically isn't that gross.
I think it's caused by like duck poo, isn't it?
Yeah, well, all the poo. Yeah. All the poo. Yeah, because geese. No, geese. That's what geese get, because it's really bad for your like animals and stuff. Like, so if I were to go swimming in like the retention ponds that we have in our subdivision, those would probably kill me.
Or you come out be some type of superhero. That'd be cool.
Right, Swamp Thing.
Yes.
That would be the superhero I turn into.
Excuse me.
So, I feel like the smells have completely changed.
Yeah.
Like now definitely. I'm getting a lot of caramel.
How are you?
No, it's just like what they say. I'm really just kind of smelling
like burnt
cinnamon.
Coffee.
Yeah, cinnamon and coffee. I think it tastes better now, though, for me anyway, than I ever remember having it. But I am turning. You can see me like physically turning red. It doesn't look that way on my my webcam, but on like my phone, it's like I look the same color. Well, you can see it, but the same color as this. It should be orange, but it looks pink. So maybe it's just a hue problem. It's a hue problem.
I thought you were a mic. Oh, sorry, bad joke. Bad joke. So I did kind of come up with a recipe I was toying around with a little bit. Trying to open up the link because it's being dumb. So I would use my award-winning stout, and I would just make it imperial. So I would just double the base malt. So instead of 5 pounds of 2-row malt, I would use 10 pounds. And I was thinking I may increase the chocolate to maybe up to 12 ounces, just to get more of a chocolate flavor into it.
Is that chocolate malt?
Use 8 ounces of caramel. Chocolate malt, yeah.
Okay.
Chocolate malt. Mm-hmm. Do 8 ounces of caramel and 8 ounces of roasted barley. And then, of course, I would use the Eastkin Golding hop, so you would use an ounce of that and another ounce of it towards like halfway through, like the last 30 minutes. But then I was toying with well, how would I get the vanilla, caramel, and all that stuff in there? So I'm hoping I'll get enough of the caramel from the caramel malts. For the vanilla, this time I don't think I'd do a tincture. I would probably just throw a few vanilla beans just right into the fermenter. Just cut it open, just throw them in there. Just let them sit. So I did that with my vanilla cream ale, and it turned out really good. I like that. I like the vanilla flavor in there. For cinnamon, I wasn't sure how I could do that either, but then I remember when I made my, I did a cinnamon cider, I just added in just a few cinnamon sticks. So I could boil those and just pour in the liquid from just being boiled, or just throw in the sticks themselves. I'd probably just throw in the sticks. Then it leads down to how do I get the oaky flavor, which this really doesn't have any oaky flavor in it, but I was imagining that it would. Again, I would just buy oak chips and just soak them in some type of whiskey. So if I could find the New Holland's what is it called, milk origin bourbon, yeah. I would just soak it in that and just throw the chips in or whatever.
Well, I have some.
Forget the chips and just throw in the whiskey in there. Just do that instead. So I think you could clone-ish, I'm going to say, question marks. You could probably get something pretty close to this. That might actually be better.
Yeah, I would forego the cinnamon myself. But
right.
That's just because I don't prefer cinnamon. It gives it a hot quality. I don't really like spicy liquid. I like spicy food. I like spicy food a lot. I just don't like spicy liquids. I don't know why. Soups, okay. I guess I would like, but not in a coffee, or not a coffee, in a drink. Because there's a cider that has a habanero cider, and I don't really care for that. There's a bunch of stuff that uses habanero and stuff in them. That Modelo you had, I think, had a spicy note, or one of the Modelos has a
it had chili in it. That was different, yeah. That was different.
I think that I would have said that I didn't like hot sweet, but I've had a chili dark chocolate, which I like, but it's in a weird kind of way. It's a love-hate. It's okay, well, I liked this, but now I can't stop eating it, so then I eat the whole damn thing. It's okay, well, that didn't work. Cool. So
it's not bad one overall.
So now I think I'm still going to leave it as a solid medium.
Solid medium. So I'm gonna pull up adjacent here. I'm not sure I would buy it, but if I went there and I could get a flight with it, I would definitely get it. So I would say I'm probably more on the thumbs up, just wouldn't buy.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a fair assessment, because this one tastes better than a lot of their other newer stuff that they're coming out with. So I don't know if they've changed how they're doing it.
Kick my
I
dog.
thought you dropped your beer. I was like, oh no.
No, I didn't realize my dog was underneath my desk. I kicked her.
All right, well, I think that's a good wrapping up point. Sorry. The line that I'm supposed to say is, I'll read it. Thanks for tuning in, and go have a pint with your pals.
Please drink responsibly. Like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, ask questions. Please ask questions. Give us some suggestions on some of your favorite beers. Maybe we can find those and try those out as well. Until then, hope you all have a great day. Cheers.
Cheers.